Hi everyone, welcome back. So I told you to create a cut like this as a homework, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to create it if you couldn't do it. If you check the resource folder, you will have this file. I already created this cut. I want you to recreate it. Now with the basic shape you are going to create this cut. So go to the rectangle and create a box like this. This is for the head. Press I for the eye drop, get the color from this one. And now go to the selection tool and in the corners, round the corners like this. I'll make it a bit bigger. Something like this would be good. Then I'm going to press on the Alt and duplicate this one for the body. Then I'll remove the roundness just like this. I did this because I need to adjust the size of the rectangle. When it's rounded, you cannot always change the size as you want. So just like this, you are going to adjust the size. And then round it like this. I give it full roundness and then move it to the left side and send it back. Right click, send it back. I think we need to make it a bit longer. Okay, like this. If you don't see the wedges for the roundness, make sure that you zoom in enough so you can see them. Now I just give a bit more roundness to the head. Now we are going to create the ears. I'm going to use the rectangle tool. We'll create something like this. Now we only need to round this corner. Click on it one time and then click again and then move it like this. And we will do the same for this corner. And now bring it down. I'll make it a bit bigger. And the roundness, we change it. I'm going to move this a bit. When you want to round one corner, make sure that you click once and then click again and then play with it so you can control individual corners. I'll keep it like this. Now you want to duplicate this, Ctrl C and then Ctrl F to paste it in the place. Then press I to get the color from this area and then press V for the selection tool. We are going to make it smaller, something like this. I'm going to rotate it a bit. Now you want to send them back. I'm going to select both of them and then right click, arrange, send it back, and then we are going to group them. And now I'm going to select both of them again and then right click, then group them, and then press on the Alt and drag it to the left to make a copy, then right click and go to the transform and reflect, press OK. Just like this, we created the second ear. But somehow I'm not satisfied with the inner part of the ear. So I'm going to play with it. Because it's a group, you have to double click on it to go to the isolation mode. I want to make this side, especially this corner, a bit sharper. I'll do the same for this area as well. Don't forget that you have to click once and then click again to play with one corner. And then the inside of the ear, as I said, I'm not very satisfied with it. We cannot scale it down because of the corners. We need to make the corners sharper a bit, just like this, and then we can scale it down like this. I'm going to remove this one and then copy this one and then paste it. Don't forget, when you have groups, you have to double click on it to go to the isolation mode. So for this ear, I just reflect it, just like this. Okay, now we have both of the ears. The next thing we are going to create is the eyes. I'm going to use the ellipse tool, create two circles like this. Press on the Alt and move it to the right to make the second circle. I'll keep the color like this so you can see it. Later we are going to change it to white. Now I'm using the ellipse tool again for the pupil. I'll move it over here. And then you are going to change the color. You can change it from here or over here. We'll make it black. Now I'll make this pupil a bit bigger and then press on the Alt or Option and move it to the right to make a copy. Then I'm going to select all of them and move it over here. We want the eyes to be in the right side because you want the cut to look at the right side. Now select both of the eyes, this and this one, and then go to the color and change it to white. In this exercise, we are touching upon the appearance and the colors a bit, but in the next section, we are going to talk about this in details. Now we are going to create the nose. I'm using the rectangle tool. Create something like this, press I and get the color from the nose just like this. And then we will round the corner. We will make it a bit bigger and then make sure that you round it again, then move it over here. Now if you want to change the height, we cannot change it because we gave this one the full roundness. When you have the full roundness on a shape, you cannot change the height. You only can change the width. To change the height, we need to get rid of the roundness. Click on these corners. And now we can change the height. Make something like this. And now round it again. Just like this. Now the second thing, we need to make this mouth for the cut. I'm going to use the circle or ellipse tool. Make a big circle like this. I'll move it over here. Press on the shift and make it smaller. Now go to the appearance, the fill, we are going to disable it. And for the stroke, we are going to add this color. Now we need to use the same color of the nose. For that, I'm going to select the nose. Then go to the swatch over here. Then plus on this bottom and then press OK. Now we have the swatch. And now go to the stroke and apply the swatch. And now you will make this circle a bit smaller. Press on the shift and make it smaller like this. Then you are going to increase the size or the width of the stroke. Make it 2, it's good. Then go to the direct selection tool, click on this point and remove it. Now if you want to make the end of the stroke rounded, we can click over here on the stroke, or you can do it over here and make it rounded just like this. Now I'm going to move this to the other side. And then press on the Alt and move it to the side to make a copy out of it, just like this. Now obviously we need to make it smaller, and also we need to make that line that has between the mouth and also the nose. I'll move it down like this and make it smaller. Make sure it's in the middle. Now I will use this line to make a line over here. Then I'm going to move it precisely. As you can see now, it's snapping to the pixel. We need to go to the view and disable the snap to the pixel. And now we can move this precisely. Then I will do that for the mouth part as well. Let's select this side first and move it to the side and this one. Just make sure that they're all in the same place, that you don't have any other extra edges. Okay, like this we are good. Now we need to make the whole thing, the whole face elements smaller. For that I'm going to select all of them. But before we do that, I'm going to group the mouth first. First we are going to zoom in, and then we are going to select all the part of the mouth, which are these one. Press on the shift and select all of them. Just like this. Then right click and group, and then I'm going to increase the size of the stroke. Something like this will be good. Now press and hold on the shift, and you are going to select all of the part of the face, which are the nose, eyes and the mouth, and then you are going to make it smaller like this. Make sure when you are making it smaller, press on the shift so you don't stretch it. And then you are going to move it up and to the right side. Okay, I think I'm going to move it to the right side a bit more. I'm going to select everything again. And then move it to the right side. Something like this is good. The next thing we are going to do is to create the beards. I don't know what they call it, but I will call it beard. I'll make a rectangle like this. Then press I to get the color from the nose. You need to be the same color. And then just make it rounded like this. We'll move it over here. If you want to make it thinner, we cannot because it's rounded. We need to get rid of the roundness, then make it thinner like this. And now we can round the edges or the corners again. If you don't see it, make sure you zoom in enough so you can see the roundness wedges. Move it over here and rotate it like this. Then press on the Alt and move it up to make a copy. We're going to rotate it like this. Then press Alt again and make another copy. And we are going to rotate it like this. I'll select all of them, move it over here. I'll make them smaller. Now it looks good, but I need to play with their position a bit. Let's move this over here. Great. Now select all of them and you are going to make a copy of them for the other side. Press on the Alt and move it to the other side. Right click and then transform and then reflect vertically. Now we have the beards for the cat. The next thing we want to do is to create the tail. So for that, I'm going to use the circle or ellipse tool. Go to the shape tools, which is this one, and then you're going to use the ellipse tool. Make a circle like this. Press on the shift with it to make a perfect circle. And then we want the tail to be something like this. Make it a bit smaller. Increase the width of the stroke like this. And then we need the color to be the same as the body. For that, I'm going to make a swatch from the body color. Click on the body, go to the swatch and press on the plus button to make the swatch. I already did. You can do it if you don't have it. Now get rid of the fill. Go to the fill and get rid of it like this. Now click on the tail, go to the direct selection tool, click on this point and delete it. Now don't delete this point, keep it like this. And then go to the selection tool and you're going to play with the size a bit. Then click on the stroke and make the end of the stroke rounded like this. Increase the size of the width a bit and adjust the tail just like this. So we are not pressing on the shift, that's why I'm stretching the tail just like this. I'll just stretch it like this a bit, then go to the direct selection tool and I'm going to play with this point. By the way, you don't need to do that, or you can do it in another way, but for me, I'm playing with the tail just like this. You may have a different shape of the tail because every cat should have a different tail or the different position for the tail. For the leg, I'm going to use the rectangle tool and create a shape like this. But first you are going to get rid of the stroke. I'm going to make it 0 and enable the fill. We are going to use this color. Actually press I and get the color from this area. You already have this one, so get the color from here. And then we will move it over here, adjust the size. And then we are going to round the corners. I'll make another copy of this, press on the Alt and move it to the side. Remove the roundness, make it smaller like this. Okay, move it to the side. We are going to round the corners and adjust it to this position, make it a bit longer, and then right click, arrange, and send it back. Actually, we don't want to send it behind the body, we want it to be behind the leg, the first part of the leg. So I just use the command and brackets for that. I already explained this in the previous section. For the color, I'm going to the fill and we are going to change it to something a bit darker. If you click on this icon, you will have the options to change the color like this. You can simply press I and get the color from the sample cut that I created already. But for now, we are good for this. The next thing, we are going to make the hands. The hands are very easy. You are going to use 2 squares and make it rounded like this. Move it over here, make it a bit smaller, press I to change the color. And you will make it white for sure. Press on the Alt and make another copy like this. But we need to make it more rounded. I will remove this one and I will make this one more rounded, the corners. Something like this, and then press on the Alt and make another copy just like this. So now we created the legs and the hands as well. Now the next thing, we're going to create the earth or the ground. And then press on the I to get the color from this area. And then press on the Command or Control and the square bracket to send it back. Press on the Command or Control and square bracket until it's behind everything else. Then bring it down. Actually, we need to fit it with the feet. We need the cut to sit on the ground. Make it a bit longer over here, zoom in and round it. Now the next thing, we need to create the highlights and shadows, which are these little square rounded squares. We will first start to do it for the face and the cut, and then we will do it for the ground. So let's do it for the face. I'm going to make it a bit more round, the face first. And then I will move this down a bit because they are not aligned together. Okay, now let's start with the highlights, which will be these rounded rectangles. I will make a rectangle like this. Then we will bring it over here, make sure the color is white. Then we are going to the opacity over here, bring the opacity down. You can control the opacity over here as well. Then round it like this. Then press on the Alt and make as many copy as you want to the places that you want to have highlights in. I'll make one over here, another one here. I'll make a copy over here, and then I will duplicate it, press on the Alt and make the copy for the nose. I will get rid of the roundness so I can make it smaller like this. And then I'll round it like this. You'll make it shorter. Okay. Let's move this down, make another one over here, make it small. Then we will make more highlights on the body. We will move one over here. Then one over here, make it smaller, another one here. And now you will make one on the leg, bring it over here, get rid of the roundness so we can make it smaller. And then we will give it the roundness again, just like this. We can make one for this area as well. Okay. Now I'm going to create the highlights or the box behind the cut. I'll use the rectangle like this and then press on the I to get the color from it, and then we can round it. I think this one is very big. I'm going to get rid of the roundness and make it thinner like this, and then give it the roundness and make it smaller like this. Then send it to the back, right click and then arrange, then send it to the back. And we are going to make more copies and change the size of each one. Okay, I'm going to make the shadows on this area as well, on the ground. We need this dark purple. And then around the corners, I'll press on the Alt and make another copy to this area. Right click, arrange and send it to back, or you can use the command and square brackets to send it to the ground. Then another copy will be here, and we can make this longer. Now we can give some variation to the boxes or the highlights on the background as well. But first, let me move it down. And now I'm going to make this one a bit thicker, like this, and make sure it's rounded. Like this, we are almost done with our design, but the last thing that I want to add to this cut is the shadow for the head. I'm just going to Ctrl C and Ctrl F, and then I'm going to change the color, but first I will move it to the left side. Then we will make the color a bit darker. We will make the color more dark, but now let's send it back. Press on the command and square bracket, and then adjust the position. Now let's change the color again. We need to be something a bit darker, something like this. And now we are going to adjust the size and the position again. Do something like this. I'll remove a bit of the roundness to make it a bit thinner, like this, and then give the roundness again and move it up, just like this. Now select all of them, go to the shape builder tool, and press on the Alt to remove this one. Just like this, we created this kind of shadow, but now we need to decrease the opacity, make it more transparent, just like this. And you'll do the same thing for the leg. I'm going to select both of the parts. Make sure that you select the highlights as well. Then right click, group, and then press on the Alt and move it up to make a copy out of it. Then we are going to change the color to this one. And now press on the command and bracket to send it back. And then we just can move it like this to make a very nice shadow. And now the last thing that we need to create is the shadow for the hands, which is this one. This will be very easy. You'll just make 2 copies of them. Press on the Alt and make a copy, then press I and get the color from this area. Press on the command and the square bracket to send it back, just like this. And then you can adjust the position. After that, just press on the Alt and make a copy to be behind this one. So just like this, we created our beautiful cat using only the tools that we have learned so far. There's so much more that you're going to learn in this course, and you will be creating very professional designs and artworks. I will see you in the next section, and we will be covering the appearance, everything about appearance and the colors inside Adobe Illustrator. I'll see you there. Bye bye.